welcome to the Mariah Jean Fit YouTube channel. I'm Coach Mariah. Make sure you like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos as much as possible so we can reach a broader audience. We appreciate your support and enjoy the video. Welcome back to the Fit Minds podcast with Coach Mariah Jean and ICN Queensland President and ICN Australian Vice President, Jason Woodforth. Hopefully I've said that right. I've got your titles right again.
You've done well, Miss Mariah.
How are you? How have you been?
Yeah, good. Just getting ready for Season B, which is Tropics 9 weeks away and state titles are 11 weeks away this weekend. Can't wait. Looking big.
Fast approaching, isn't it? And yeah, I've seen so many competitors this season. I think it gets bigger every season.
Yeah, actually, Season B this season seems to be a big one. So we might crack the 300 competitors at the state titles. The way it's looking. So
Wow.
Some big teams. Yeah, we've got a few coaches that got over 20 competitors in each of their teams. So it's been big.
Yeah, I've got 9 in mind so far. I say so far, there's always changes that happen last minute, but yeah, it's a bloody big one. I think that the indication of teams is, yeah, it's definitely going to be a cracker. There's some crazy physiques rocking up to posing classes as well, I've seen on your updates. So yeah, very exciting, some serious competition.
Yeah, and I think just on that, Mariah, every year we just get crazy physiques. Like, I'll use Tom McNamara from Season 8 at Sunshine Coast Classic. You know, like one of the last divisions of the day, and out he walks, and you just go, "Where did you come from?"
Yeah.
Just and just so many great physiques over the years. I just love it. If we could only ever just get every single great physique on the stage at one time, that would just be amazing.
It would be cool. Even if you had some firsts and seconds where it was really close, and then have them all kind of stacked up against each other. Or even just in general with a big crowd, it'd be really cool to see them all together. But yeah, it's and even there's some physiques as well I've found that aren't even posting on social media. They're just rocking up on the day, and it's like, oh gosh, exactly. That's just a surprise, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. But also, can I just say on that note, just remember, competitors, that the winning is putting the best version of you on stage. Okay, with that mindset, you'll always have a really good day. And I love it when I see people who don't even place, they'll grab their medal and they'll be like, just because it's an achievement getting up there on that stage, learning about your body, how your body responds to training, to food, just to life in general, especially when you're going hardcore into ripping off that body fat and how the body responds and how you feel. It's an amazing journey, and like I said, with that mindset, you just have a great time on stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the wins and the places are just a bonus.
Looking forward to show day, I think, is something that can get you through, and having nothing to do with the placings, just looking forward to competing in general. And you're not going to see yourself in that condition for a long time again. So it's nice to have that moment. Yeah. Yeah.
And look, I can say, because the last time I competed, I didn't place top 5. I didn't expect to place top 5, and I had a ball of a day.
I bet
I put the best version of me on stage, and I had photos, I had just everything. It was just amazing. I loved it.
It is. Yeah. There's nothing like it. There's no other feeling like show day itself. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love that message. All right. Well, we've interviewed you previously earlier this year, and we just want to have you back on the podcast for some more comp-prep content, because it seems like people are really hungry for this stuff, and to answer some of the burning questions that I think I've had a lot from my own competitors, and I think we're probably going to get in the industry as well. So let's get stuck right in. Obviously, nutrition is a really important factor, we know, in prep, but I want to know how important you think that nutrition is in comp prep. Do you believe that one mistake or multiple small mistakes with food can be the deciding factor between a first, a second, place, or not placing at all? How seriously should competitors be taking their nutrition?
Well, look, I've always said with nutrition, you've got to listen to your coach on that one. Yeah. When it comes to posing, I've always said get 2, 3, 4, 5 opinions. And I digress just a moment to posing classes where we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes up to 10 coaches there. And we'll bounce off each other. What do you think about this pose, this pose, this pose? But I think when it comes to nutrition and training, because they match each other, I think you've got to listen to the one source. So whilst I might have an opinion, I think that my opinion is, my other opinion is, go with your one source and stick with it, because they're matching up the nutrition, the water, the training, the cardio, the weights, etc. The last thing you want to do is get 3, 4, 5 opinions on that. I think that will really mess with you. But in regards to the difference it makes on maybe missing a meal here or there, well, look, the one thing I will say is, look, I've listened to competitors that get up on stage who said, oh, this happened 3 weeks out, this happened 3 days out, this happened 6 weeks out, and still came in and placed at one. So, you know, like, and the number of different diets, or I should say meal plans, but at the end of the day, the diet is what you eat. Okay, so I don't look at diet as a way of dieting. A diet is what is your diet.
Yeah.
I've heard of all different ways of the way people come in and again have one. Also training wise, you know, we had one guy one year didn't touch weights at all. He did everything with calisthenics, just holds, you know, minute too long. But everyone's different, because not everyone responds to that style of training. So again, what works for you? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like that answer because it wasn't what I was expecting. It never is, Jason. It's great. It wasn't what I was expecting because I think that a lot of people like to preach this whole, like, you know, nutrition is absolutely everything. And I mean, yes, it is. But as you said, it's what's most consistent with the person that you're working with, because how are they meant to, you know, the transparency is going to be the most important thing, really.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, how do we know where to go from there? So I love
Yeah.
that.
So, like, just use another example, is that, like, you know, I used to have my supplement store back 10 years ago for a decade, and, you know, we used to write meal plans for people, and I had to understand what they were doing training wise.
Yeah.
And, you know, you match up what's happening, and all of a sudden they come back and things aren't working, and they forgot to tell you that, oh, by the way, I'm running a marathon every day, or, you know, the fact that you wanted me to run a marathon every day and I'm not. Okay, we need to know that sort of information. So if anything, I also back that up and just say, make sure you tell your coach everything.
Yes.
It's really important so they can match up your nutrition with your training and extracurricular activities. I mean, like, your job might be 20,000 steps a day. Could be 40,000 steps a day. Actually, here's a fun fact. I was on a phone call the other week with one of the other presidents, and we always go long phone calls. This one went for 3.5 hours.
Jesus.
Right? Normally they go from a solid hour, just so much to talk about and chat and discuss. But this particular one went for 3.5 hours, and I happened to be in bare feet for it, actually, because I was in my house. And I just started walking around, as I do every time I chat to him. And so anyway, I ended up doing 17,000 steps and walked 11 or 13? I think it was 13 kilometers in bare feet around my house. Inside and
No
out.
excuses, Jason. No excuses. He gets it done.
Oh, unbelievable. But anyway, I digress. All right.
It's wonderful though. Walking is really good for thinking. So I love that. That's phenomenal. You're right though.
Well, like, if I could right now, I'd do this Skype call. Actually, no, I'd probably go for a solid hour while I'm walking, but it's not the best to walk and Skype.
That's right. The laptop might be a bit wonky. So, you know, that's great. I really like that. A good start to the podcast. It's kind of like, it depends is always the answer with that. Next question. Can you please explain season A and season B to our listeners? We get this question quite a bit, which is like, you know, we talk about season A and season B pretty nonchalant when it comes to comp prep in our industry. But I suppose for newbies, they don't understand what A and B means, and they don't really, you know, get why we use those terminologies. So,
well, funny enough, it came about from Wayne McDonald, our chairman, our chief officer, and he just decided to call it season A and B. And I reckon they have to be back, or probably maybe a decade ago.
so
And
it's
it's
from
funny.
ICN. Oh wow.
Yeah. This all came about from Wayne McDonald, and every federation has actually adopted it. Yeah, it's amazing how quickly A and B just stuck. Yeah, so pretty much all season A is obviously the first half of the year, season B the second half. And it's just to differentiate the first half and second half. That's really all it is about. You know, in the first half, we run the City Nationals as the national event. So it's still a national event, still has pro cards. And then season B has the national event, which I suppose going back, because City National's only been around for a decade. Prior to that, there was always just the one national show and world title show at the end of the season.
Okay.
It's broken up into two. And again, all the other federations have followed. Yeah, so we're a bit of a trendsetter, I'd like to think, here at ICN.
Aren't you? That's great. I did not know that. I did not know it came from ICN.
Yeah. I'll give you another one. Is that we here in Queens were actually the very first time that we did let people do multiple divisions. That was going back, oh, she's maybe 15 years ago. I sat here and watching everyone and listening to their comments and just thought to myself, why can't people do more than one division like it's swimming? You know, you can do the 400, the 800, et cetera, and go up against other people. And Wayne said, I don't know, let's give it a shot. And it's been a roaring success because there's nothing worse than doing all that training and meal prepping for just one moment on stage of just 5 to 8 minutes, roughly.
Absolutely.
You know, yeah, and also the number of people actually who've gone on that very first time and stuffed up and gone, oh my god, I don't remember what happened. Hang on a second, get myself right. Yep, and get back on there and shine. I know a girl that back in 2015, she got fifth in first timers, but she won the overalls. She just had the most terrible time in that first division, just didn't pose well, was nervous, was just stumbling, was just not herself, and then just came out, got it together, and boom, yeah.
Wow. That's
Mm.
wild. To go from fifth to first just because of posing is just phenomenal. And I mean,
Yeah.
you can really stuff it up, can't you? It depends on
Oh, look,
lots of things.
100%. Look, and also the reason why people change, I know we're digressing here a bit, but it's leading into what it is that you know, two girls come out in bikini literally back to back who go 3-4 then 4-3 because at, you know, those places what's happening is they're coming out and striking it hard. We evaluate, we judge for that moment. All
Yeah.
right, generally speaking, it doesn't happen too often where they move, but sometimes they do and just go, well, we're looking at it going, I know what we scored last time, but look at the difference now. This girl's really pushing hard. This girl's really smoking it. She's really got it good, or this guy. And we go, yeah, fair enough. We swap them around. It happens. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I think it certainly also it makes people kind of work for their time on stage as well. Like they don't just rock up and do their poses and leave. It's about
Yeah.
personality as well. Love
Yeah,
that.
and again, even a first and second swapped around. I think at the Sunshine Coast show, we just went, no, look how she's come out this time. It was a female bikini division, I think, and I listened to the judges and I went, oh, it's a good call. I think you're right. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So it happened, and also like so when you come off stage, it would no matter what placing you get or don't place, just quickly check in with the judge. Sorry, with your coach, and just say, well, okay, what did you see? And you know, hopefully the coach is there going, okay, look, I saw this and this and this, so let's change that and let's come back out and see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of times I've done that with a competitor, and I see other coaches doing it, it's like they run backstage and like, oh, you're back, or your glutes,
Yep.
or you know, they weren't on this, you know, and they show them the video and they're back on stage again. It is
Yep.
very
Yeah,
like,
I tell you another big one is tan.
yeah,
Some competitors come off and the coach is running back to the tanning tent, go, you're too white, you're too white. We're gonna get you darker, get you darker. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. This is, and it keeps it exciting too, I think. So season A,
Mm.
season B is just a separation of the 6 months,
Yep.
and yeah, and but April, May shows, or even you know, because you can sometimes have some earlier, but and then say like September, October, and you've got that kind of bracket there to work with for people to work towards.
Yeah.
But we do have that overlap too. Like we don't just prep people in a season A and then start prepping in a season B. We have these like competitors overlapping with each other. So you've got some starting prep while other ones are still in prep as well. Yeah,
Yep.
which is
Absolutely.
happening a lot more lately than not because you know preps are getting longer. So
Well, just on that one, it's sort of maybe a question you've got coming up that you threw to me, but I'll just go there. Is that people ask me how long you need for prep? Well, I
yeah,
kind of say like this: what's your stage weight? So, say for a female, on average, 50 kg, right? Is if you're sitting at 60 kg, you've got 10 kilos to lose. How long does it take you to lose 10 kilos?
yeah,
It's as simple as that. And if you want to do a kilo a week, which isn't easy but can be done, that's 10 weeks. But if you want to do it half a kilo a week, that's 20 weeks.
yeah,
It's as simple as that. And also, actually, if there's one thing in your first couple of weeks, you generally speaking lose, 2 to 4 kilos in that first couple of weeks.
yeah,
Don't think that's going to continue.
yeah,
I used to always say to people, if we're holding the same strategy, you might lose 2 in the first, it's going to be 1 in the second, there's going to be half in the third, and we'll probably run 250 to 750 grams a week from there.
yeah,
If we don't change anything, if everything stays exactly the same.
yeah.
So yeah, you get excited about that first week, but it doesn't remain.
Doesn't last. Yeah, it's short. Yeah, yeah, and the lower we like, the less we weigh and the more body fat we lose. A percentage at 100 kilos is 1 kilo, and a percentage at 50 kilos is 500 grams. So it's like you are going to slow down a bit, but that's why there's no reason to take the foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
You've got to really put it down if anything, like just keep pushing. So love that. Next question. The new wellness division is gaining popularity. Do you think that there should be a definitive difference? And obviously there should be, but between bikini and wellness, or say sports and wellness? And if so, what are the major differences in marketing criteria for competitors to be aware of?
Yeah, cool. Look, this is very self-explanatory in regards to the judging criteria and what we're looking for. So swimsuit and bikini are pretty much what are the same.
Yeah.
So we're looking for good tone. We're not looking for muscle separation. The back pose can always have a bit of muscle separation because when you're that lean, once you put your arms up, you're putting your arms up in a flex position.
Yeah.
So I always say to the judges, look, do ignore that unless there's something crazy happening. And generally speaking, if there's something crazy happening with that arms up pose when they turn around, they've probably got a little bit of ab. They've probably got a little bit of lines in the legs. So yeah, and that happened to a girl one year. She was like pretty much, well, she was bikini to a degree, but there was just that slightest line in the leg, just that slightest in the midsection, and we're going, oh yeah, look, we're struggling with first just from that alone. But then when she turned around, her arms up pose, oh my goodness, what a back! And we just went, no, that completes the package. She can't be either first or second. And that pushed her down because she was too strong. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to guess maybe a fourth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So still bikini-ish, but was too strong for it. So we had to push him down. And that's how it happens. Is that in actual fact, yeah, because she was too good. But a girl who's right on bikini and wins it probably is going to get a lower placing in sports model because that's the transition. That's the next stage. I'm going to leave wellness for a moment. And then the next girls getting really good in sports are probably going to do really well in fitness as well.
Right.
Okay, so pretty much the difference with sports, we are looking for that sporty look, which can be different to the shredded look. Not everyone looks so sporty in the shred. And then when you get to fitness, we're looking, go as hard as you want. And really bring out a harder package. But now, in saying that, we can also only judge with what is in front of us. So I'll use Darwin as an example. Back in, I think, 2012, we had 3 girls up there in bikini, and one girl had a ripping 4-pack, but she was perfect everywhere else. It was actually really odd to see someone with such a great 4-pack and actually be just toned elsewhere. And the other 2 girls just hadn't brought it in enough. And so we gave the girl with the so-called the 6-pack, 4-pack, the win. It was the right decision on the day and still the right decision over a decade later. So again, we've just got to judge with what we've got presented in front of us up there. Now, I go back to wellness then. So wellness kind of sits in between bikini and bikini swimsuit and sports model. And the difference being, though, is your lower half dominates your upper. Okay, so you may not have no upper. So you'll have some upper, but at the end of the day, you'll lower your quads and your glutes and your hammies are just so strong. And the perfect example is Chloe that competed this year. Heidi from last year is exactly what we're looking for in that wellness division. And muscle separation, just bordering on that muscle separation. Because I've got a girl at the moment. She came to posing just the difference in 2 weeks. Here we are thinking wellness. She's come on Sunday and she's gone, oh my goodness, look at the lines. I said, you're on wellness. You got to stop now. Yeah. But with 12 weeks to go, I said, look, I reckon you should just go harder and see where you come in, because where we thought her quads and glutes were going to stay stronger, they've actually come in really nice. So now we're changing. So another thing to be mindful of is be flexible in your thinking and comp prep of where you might end up, because you may think you want to be doing sports and fitness, but we'll move you into figure. And that's Kate Archibald was a perfect example. Yeah. She came along a couple of years ago, and I just said to T, she's not doing fitness or sports, she's figure, and she wins a pro card. Yeah. So be flexible where you might end up, because we only ever try to put you in the right divisions.
Yeah, I love that.
And so, and I'm saying that a wasted division entry is doing bikini and fitness. Yeah. You are either closer to one or the other.
Yes. Yeah. I had this conversation with a girl yesterday, actually inquiring, and she was like, I want to do bikini, sports, and fitness. And I was like, no, you're not. We're not doing bikini, sports, and fitness. You can't be the ace of all, the jack of all trades or whatever it's called. It's like, I said we can do maybe bikini and sports, or maybe sports and fitness, but we'll make that decision. And because the posing is somewhat similar, it will change slightly to bring out more muscular definition in those more hard divisions. You can get away with doing something like that. Much harder if you're going from fitness to figure, mind you. but I think Kate did really well with that. So I think that anything is possible, especially at 8, 10, 7, 6 weeks out, 5 weeks out sometimes as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, I've seen girls change massively. Well, there's a perfect example. Just on the weekend, 2 weeks, just in
Yeah.
2 weeks, the
Wow.
change that was made was like, whoa, hang on a second, that's changing the game. We
Mm.
got to think this. So I've got that girl just thinking, okay, let's just keep going and let's see where we end up, and being flexible to where we might end up. And that means we'll have to tweak the posing from the wellness posing to probably it's looking like sports and fitness at this stage. And keeping in mind that you probably could do bikini, sports, and wellness as those three categories. But the reason why you do them is because, firstly, the wellness side of things, you are stronger lower than upper, but you still want to do, say, maybe sports.
Yeah.
Okay. And we do get some girls in bikini that do sports just for the fun of it. They know they're going to win the place. They just want the outfit. They want to jump up there in a pair of sand shoes and have some fun.
Yeah.
So, it's whatever suits you. Yeah. It's your journey. It's your journey.
I like that. Yeah, and I think, yeah, as you said, like it's going to be a collaborative effort from the coach and also from you guys as well. And I always send the girls back to you and go, well, what does Jason say? Because at the end of the day, you're going to be a part of that, process, and it's important to know what you think too, but what we're going to try and do together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. So I'm going to talk about men's divisions because I don't often do it, but I guess because I actually have 3 or 4 male competitors next year in season B, which is going to make up almost half of my team. And then I've also got one this season as well. So funnily enough, I'm now prepping men. So it's going to be very important for me to know this stuff. Men's divisions are becoming harder to mark each year with more competitive, and I say for women's as well, but I'm talking about we've seen some wild bodybuilding physiques, men's classic as well. Like I've been blown away. They've become harder to mark each year with more competitive physiques from season to season. Do you mark men down for being too muscular for a division? If, say, you'd like them to step up into bodybuilding, for example, from men's classic or men's physique. And yes, so for female divs, we've already talked about that. We do that with, say, for, bikini. But I want to talk about men's divisions. Like, do you see these men who come into men's physique and you go, you're too jacked, mate, get into bodybuilding, and then they don't end up where they want to be,
Yeah, absolutely. So let's use the progression of men's fitness, men's physique, men's bodybuilding. We'll leave classic out for a moment. So you can be too big in men's fitness and you really need to be in men's physique. And you can be too big in men's physique and you need to be in bodybuilding. So absolutely, you can be too big in a particular division. Now, you can't be too big in classic physique, but what you can be is too blocky or just too not looking like you suit those classic poses. And like we'll have a look at some guys through the posing classes. We do 16 weeks of posing classes, and we'll look at them and go, mate, you just don't suit classic. You're this, you're that. I know you're trying to hold that classic pose, but it's just not you. It's not that it doesn't suit many, but some people it just doesn't suit. Yeah. So classic physique, you can be big, but you can be shredded in every division of men's. Simple as that. But do you suit the classic posing? Is it really you? Yeah.
I like that because I think there's a common misconception that classic has to have a size limit. And I actually like hearing that not necessarily. It's like the small waist, that nice V taper, the broad lats. But as you said, being able to get into those poses and it looking natural for their physique to suit their physique. And no one should ever be disappointed that they don't suit a certain division. They can just change divisions depending on their frame and the like, and they don't need to be upset by that.
Yeah. Oh, hey, would I like the Greek god body? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't have that, so I'm not going in classic physique. It doesn't suit me as much as I'd love it to suit me. I'm no Frank Zane or whatever. I'm never going to be. So what suits your body type? And just roll with that. But again, if you want to do classic physique for the fun and the enjoyment, and you like doing those poses, absolutely go in it. And if I wanted to do that, I'll go in it. But I know that I'm no chance. But I just want to pose like that. I just want to be, and that's kind of like some theme wear for the females. They just love dressing up. They want to do runway. They want to do angels. Not necessarily to win, but they just love being dressed up. So horses for courses. It's again your journey.
Lovely. I like that. And I did want to address that because I think that I've actually seen it happen, where I've watched some of the men's divs and I haven't had competitors in it and I've gone, oh, I think I see why they did that. And, and then it's like, you hope that the coach is having that chat or the judges are having that chat with that competitor. So next question for the ladies, back to the ladies again, very briefly addressed for the male divisions. But for the ladies, do you think there's a line between, and I don't think this question's ever been asked, but it's one we address quite a lot in posing classes. Do you think there's a line between having class and a little bit of sass on stage and taking things just a little bit too far, pushing the envelope with sex appeal? Where would you draw the line for the standard?
Oh, we have this conversation in posing classes all the time for the females. We say in bikini, have a bit of sexy sass about you, absolutely. But once you get into sports and fitness, they're not really sexy sass. I mean, that's a strength type division. As much as I might be giving a sword for bikini because the swords are so loved, and I see your sword behind you there, Miss Mariah, is that we might bring that out. But the reason why I brought the sword into sports and fitness was because it is a strong strength muscular division. So when you do your turns, when you do your transitions, your walks, just think about suiting the division you're in. It's kind of like, how would you walk in runway? How would you walk in swimsuit, bikini, sports, fitness? And also just, I digress again, but your hairstyle. Just think, what sort of hairstyle would you put on the front cover of a fitness magazine or a bikini magazine? Would you put a prom night, a wedding style hairstyle? No. Yeah, it's basically the hairstyle you've got, but parted actually, Mariah, while you've got that hairstyle there. So make sure it's flowing down. That's the most important thing with your hair. Yeah.
Yeah, I really do like that. I think that we see sometimes things gone a little bit too far on the stage. And it's funny because I think girls think that that's what the judges want. And, they don't, they're not going to place as well. You watch them kind of go down the ladder and it's like, stop doing that. Pull it back in a little bit. And also, as you said, like having the style, knowing what suits the division and in figure, we're not going to be, well, there's less sex appeal in figure, I'm just going to say. There's a lot less sex appeal in figure. But we like it that way. We like being strong and feminine. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think female muscle's sexy.
I think so too. I think that in itself, you just stand on stage and flex and that's it. Everyone's done. Everyone can go home. We're all good.
And just on the walking, like we had a girl one year in fitness walk so slow to the back of the stage and cross-legged. It was like, are you ever going to get there? It was like that ridiculously long, and was in fitness. One, she's shredded. Two, she's carrying very minimal body fat on her glutes, so therefore there should be nothing wobbling. Certainly in bikini and swimsuit. Okay, you're carrying a bit more body fat, but only a bit more. So just maybe control the glutes a little bit there with your walk, but not to the point that you're going so super slow. And it's also not a race from the back of the stage to the front when we bring you back to the front of the stage. Just have a nice timely walk. And also just on that, if you are at the back of the stage and we ask you to come forwards, don't curtsy and don't step backwards. If you do, and the other girls walk straight out, you're going to be behind them and out of sight. And if you're on the ends, you're not going to be seen because you're going to be back. And this happened at posing class just on the weekend. And I said to the group, I said, okay, as we walk out, don't step backwards. And one girl forgot and stepped backwards. And she was literally six steps behind the other girls, and she was on the end. So we practice that and practice it. So just make that very first step forwards with no curtsies, just so you're with everybody else, and just a timely walk. That's all. Yeah. Nice. And think about how you swing your arms as well. Or is one arm, or is one arm also, say in the sports, or mainly in sports, would you walk with one arm on the hip forwards? That's a nice strong position as well. So what suits you? Like, think about all that devil in the detail.
Nice. Yeah. Love it. There's a lot, isn't there? There's so much.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So next question, what kind of budget recommendations would you give to competitors, and what specifically should they be budgeting for in the lead up to show season? This is probably going to be pretty lengthy, but if you give your idea, and then I might even throw in what I've budgeted in the past, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah. Well, look, female versus male is obviously very different. The guys don't have the hair and makeup, which is obviously a big cost. Your biggest cost probably is your trainer, to be honest, because depending on how many weeks out, and depending what they charge, that's probably your biggest cost. Then food as well. So but then again, we eat every day anyway. So you kind of, some people like forget that, hang on a second, I was going to have a chicken
And you save
anyway.
money on takeaway as well, not spending money on takeaway. Yeah.
100%. Yep, absolutely. So in a way, actually, comp prep, depending on what your nutrition is, can actually save you money.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. The other one is just allowing for your tan, your hair, your makeup, of course, your outfit. Girls, you don't need $1,000 swimsuit. Okay, you just don't. I know some girls who have $150. I can't remember at Strathpine in Brisbane. Can't remember who it was. $150, and that girl won.
Wow.
So it's not the most expensive bikini that wins.
No.
So just, think about what cut you're getting, what style you're getting, how much bling you've got. It just doesn't need to be over blinged either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So price wise, and look, can I just say this also? Is every sport's costly these days? There's just not a sport.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Whether actually, let's pick cycling for example.
We
Your
don't
bike's cost $5,000-$10,000.
yeah, we don't really have equipment, do we? Like we haven't got any sort of ergogenic aids, like special things that we need to wear on our feet or anything like that. It's just a gym membership, and for me it'll be my figure suits, right? So and heels, but then the heels you can reuse, and the figure suits you can sell. You can't sell a pair of yucky bike shorts that you've worn 50 times or whatever. So I agree. I think every sport has its costs, and no one should be going on about this is this, because it's all, even with registration and membership, it's all fairly on par across federations as well, which I really like. It's not like one's going to be an outlier, and you need funds to run a federation and to run a show. So we're all running businesses here. So even with coaching as well, yes, it's going to be of a cost to us, but no one's expecting to compete for free, and you can do it on a budget. You can do it half of what someone would put towards a prep, or you can go all out and go, do you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to put what I've got on this and have a good time type of thing. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, it's your journey. What do you want to do? But actually, just on that, thinking about that, the cycling one I used is, like if you're really into your cycling, that everyone I know that's really into their cycling, they've got at least a $5,000 bike, if not 10,000 plus, right?
Yeah.
Then all their cycling gear and glasses and their wet weather gear, their winter gear, etc. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars. So in one way, this sport actually isn't that expensive. And then you can say, well, hang on, I end up with a bike at the end of it. Well, you know what? I've got 3 race bikes in my garage that I haven't used for 8 years. I might have ended up with them, but I don't use them.
I love the memories that you end up with from bodybuilding, and certainly the change in your demeanor and the way that you operate in life. Like, as I've said to you in the last podcast, since I competed, my brain has worked differently. My whole life has completely changed since that first show back in 2019. It changes what you know that you're capable of. So I think that any price that you put on a comp prep will be worth it, because you get so much from it. You get so much back from it. It's an investment. But I mean, like, to give you an idea, I think my first season I ever competed, I honestly think I spent less than a couple thousand, like it really wasn't a lot. And then my last season, because I was a little bit, excited and whatever, I think it was like, including photo shoots, like I went just ham, and I think it was like $5 or $6 grand. And I was fine with that. I was like, like this was a really fun prep. The next one I'm going to do probably very similar. But I do think, as you said, $150 on a swimsuit. Don't think that you have to be the person to throw money at a comp prep. If you need to budget divisions, that's okay. If you have got it in your piggy bank to do a few, do them, because you're not going to be able to do this for a long time, and you may not do it ever again. So I think that don't be a tight ass. If you can't be, if you can manage to do it, spend the money. Yeah.
To your good point, it's an investment in you. It's an investment in you just in regards to how you can teach or understand your body and how it works. But I tell you, the number of people who have changed their lives from competing is just, over the 17 years I've been running shows, the stories I've heard. One year I had to, and literally comp week in particular, so much happens in your life, or that month of comp week, that you just weren't expecting. But because you're doing this, things come your way. Generally speaking, good things, change of jobs, meeting a new boyfriend or girlfriend, like a new house. And just on that, I know that so many people change residences during comp prep or just after. It's like phenomenal, right? One year we had a massive stuff up from our supplier with shirts, and we had to send out shirts afterwards. And I went, I'm going to have to contact everybody here because I know people change dress. And anyway, of the 100 people, there was 100 competitors in that show, 20 had changed a dress within the space of like 1 to 2 weeks. That's just what happens. Comp prep just makes things amazingly change in your life. It really is amazing.
It's empowering, I would say. Definitely empowering. It opens up opportunities, I think,
Yeah.
and you're more sure of yourself because look at what
Mm.
you're already accomplishing. It gives you this idea that, hold on, the sky is the limit. I can do this. I can just make a decision, to change my life in an instant. And I love that. You've been a part of a lot of people's life changes. And I think you need to be given that credit as well because you inspire people from the second someone comes into a posing class, and that goes all the way through to when they compete. So you, meaning you, but ICN as well. All right, so on to the next question. Can you please explain the preferred bikini cut for ICN for both tops and bottoms, and any colors that you don't recommend wearing? So no go colors on show day. Also heel recommendations, including height and style.
Yeah, and Mariah, this is some devil in the detail that can go wrong. Also, how you wear the bikini in figure. Like I'm going to go left, right, and center here. I've got so many examples. In figure 1 year, I remember being down at Southport watching a show, and this girl came third in figure, and I said to her mum, she was sitting next to me, I said her pants are way too high up around her hips. And I said, she's got no midsection. Her midsection was tiny and her legs were long and longer than what they actually were because of the way she wore the bikini, and said, this is where my legs finish, right? And she said, really? She said, we wanted to give her really long legs. I said, no, you've given her really bad symmetry. Anyway, she went to Melbourne the next week and changed that around and just missed winning. And she said, yeah, I see what you mean now. It really balanced her out. I said, yeah. And last season, actually, a girl showed me her bikini, and I said, you look like your glutes are about a foot long. Right, because again, the way the bikini was made, it enabled her to go right up high, and that's where they had to sit. Otherwise, they would have been dropping underneath, and it made her glutes look too long. You want the top bikini to sit around the top of the glute, and then continuing from there. You want it on your hip line to continue around that hip line and not too high and not too low. If you drop it too low, you cut your legs off. If you drop it too high, you make your legs too long. And again, with your glutes, you make your glutes too long. So it's really important where you put the cut of the bikini, and also your connector on the side. Just have like really like a 1 centimeter connector, because again, where the connector finishes down is where your leg line stops. So if you've got the tassels hanging down, you might have the connector here, but you've got the tassels here, your leg effectively finishes at the bottom of the tassels. Don't use tassels. I think that's what they're called. And just use the one connector bit for your pants. The cut of the bikini at the back, look, just what suits your glutes. As simple as that. And no G-strings, okay? Mind you, the color of bikinis goes close to that these days, but no G-strings. They don't look appropriate, and they don't. Generally speaking, they don't do anything for your symmetry or physique. Coming to the top, now that you can get some big variations. Number one, let me start with, look, girls, you're all different shapes and sizes, right? In particular, your boobs, some go outwards. It's just a simple fact, right? If they do, and we're looking to try and find your back and your lats out, make sure you don't have a connector at the front connecting the two triangles. Get rid of the connector and just try and get the girls in so that we can see the outside of your lats. Okay, so really important there. Also, 1 year, a few years back, a girl put a bikini on, came posing classes, and I looked at her and went, what's wrong with your bikini? She goes, I don't know, there's something not right. And we worked out the triangles, the way she positioned the cut of the triangles, the makeup, had put them in a way that's right, they put them in a way that made it look like her boobs were facing outwards when they were actually facing straight. And it was just, I think that's what it was, but it was just, you looked at it and there's something wrong with the cut of this bikini and the way it was put together. So you can get that wrong and not make it look right on the body. The other one is too big a cup. Like, not that we want to see boobs, it's not a boob show. And just on that, do I need boobs to win bikini sports fitness figure? No. And I can use someone from just last year who's got nothing and is a fitness pro. Sorry, sports bra. Okay, so don't think that's the case, right? But don't have them so big that it becomes like a t-shirt. Or Mariah, as we discussed earlier, a WBFF cut, which is fashion. Okay, so don't have that big fashion thing happening. That's a completely different federation. It's a completely different look. We're looking for the body and all that work you've done in the gym. So don't go and hide up, with just something doesn't look right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that. These are all perfect descriptions of bikinis because you get girls going a little bit crazy with their
yeah,
bikinis.
yeah,
And I think what you're referring to when the triangle cuts are not right, it's like space boobs. They're just like, you know what I mean? They're kind of like, "Wah," and they're just they're a bit drunk. And we know as women, like they can be pretty uncontrollable as it is. So, getting, as you said, the right cut for you, not having gaps in your bikini as well, which can often, as we lose more, become bigger as the gaps get bigger. So even getting padding in there to try and fill it out and all that type of stuff. But I really love this description. It's just fantastic. Find the right cut for you. Don't have crap all over your big flowers and shit all over your bikini because at the end of the day, as you said, it's a bodybuilding show. So and the butt cut. I didn't even realize and think about that. Is that yeah? Some of them get them so high that their glutes look like they're just part of their leg almost, and that they're not kind of.
yeah,
Another common mistake I've seen is girls put in their especially shorter girls, putting it right on their hips like the 90s style, and they go as low as possible with it, and then they kind of look like they've got no bum because they've kind of chopped off their bum. So it's kind of like finding that sweet spot for you. But yeah, no G-strings, yucky. Too
yeah,
too little is a thing. There is such thing as too little.
yeah.
Clothing and bodybuilding, there is, yeah. And
Absolutely.
heels was the other one. Yeah, the height
Sorry.
of the heels. So high,
Oh,
yeah, the height of
but
heels and
yes.
like type style as well.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I just need to go back on bikini for
Oh yeah,
color.
color.
Yeah.
Yes, color. Yes.
And
The two
swimsuit.
things. Yeah, yeah.
So make sure that you're picking a color that suits a tan.
Mm.
Okay. So you might be white now. You're going to be tanned on the day. What suits that? I go back to 2004. I took a friend of mine to a bodybuilding show, and she's standing on in the lineup. I'm just going, your bikini. She was doing figure. I'm looking, just going, your bikini is the color of your tan.
Oh no.
You're not standing out here. And she really should have done better than what she did, but she didn't stand out. She was just a blank canvas.
Yeah.
Um, and then I go to a girl in swimsuit one year who wore this. It was a bit of a goldish brown swimsuit, and was literally the color of her tan. She was literally a blank canvas. You've got to use that outfit to pop the body parts.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, you can pop the body parts too badly when you've got that long glute. Okay, so think about where everything sits, and you're trying to pop that glute, you're trying to pop that leg, you're trying to pop that midsection, and you can't do that if you're blending in. So make sure you've got the right color with a tan, and also maybe like a white color swimsuit really suits. And I say swimsuit more than bikini because bikini too, but I don't think we have too many white bikinis these days. But swimsuit white swimsuits look amazing, especially if you've got dark hair.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't probably put a blonde in a white suit. Okay,
Yeah.
but I put some dark hair in a white suit. So just think about those sort of things of matching with your hair or not matching with your hair to be, being the contrast. So really think about your color. You can, like I said, you can get a color too close to your tan, so be really careful of that. And one year we had a girl had really some sort of fancy design on her outfit, and we just look at the fancy design. Wow, look at that! It was like mesmerizing. Guess what we were doing? We were
Looking
looking at her outfit and not at her body.
at
So make sure that everything that you do, be it hair, tan, makeup, jewelry, stands out, but is not the standout. Because if we get mesmerized by something that's not your body, well, we're spending time and looking at that, and hair's a big one. Like we're just looking at the hair, it's going, oh, look at the hair. Oh, and like normally it's bad what they've done. They've tried to be fancy and it's gone wrong. And we're just going, why have you done that? And we're having a discussion about the hair. Okay, so don't think about the hair to be something that I've got to do something outrageous. No, just make it complementary to all that hard work you've done in the gym. So everything you put on, just complementary to what you've done. I know you want to stand out, but don't stand out for the wrong reasons. Make those accessories stand out-ish, but don't make them the stand out that we get distracted, if I can just reiterate that point.
Love
Yeah.
that.
And then let's go down to the feet, the heels. It is not a height competition. You don't need the big 6-inch heels and big platforms, and it's so hard to move around in them. 4 to 5-inch heel is all that required. Maybe 1 inch at the front for the platform. Give yourself more of a balance. If you've got no platform at the front and you've got a 5.5-inch heels, you're going to be standing like this. So just think about how you want to stand, and the less platform you've got at the front, the more connected you're going to be to the ground and have that balance and security. So yeah, just those the points I'd mentioned, and just just clear heels. That's all you need. They don't need to be fancy. They don't need to be glittered all over or anything diamond studded. Just again, we're not looking at them. We're looking at everything else but your heels. Yeah.
So don't go spend $400 on a pair of heels and embellishing them, and and you just need clear. It's not, I think a lot of women get stuck on the details because we're women. We like sparkly things, but it's not necessary, and it's not even, probably I would say it's not recommended. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I remember we had a girl turn up in red heels one time, and it was like that she went turn up in red heels to try and stand out, but we got distracted by them. He's like, "What's with the red heels? What's with the red heels? Oh, look at the red heels!" And every time you look back, it's like the first thing that got you was the red heels. Actually, one year, here you go. This, and with your hair, never do a hairstyle that goes backwards, up and backwards, because that's where, go out to the shopping center after this podcast, people, and go and watch people and go and look at them and think, where do I look after making eye contact with them? Generally speaking, if you make eye contact and you've got hair going down, and especially with a smile, after a smile as well, is that you'll continue looking down the person's body and seeing what they're wearing, etc. You have hair going backwards, you'll look up the person first. Okay, then you've got to come back down. The other thing is also, when you're looking at people, just think, if someone smiles at me, has a big smile on their face, do I look at them in awe? And chances are you probably will, because you're captivated by the smile. So here's the tip about smiling people on stage. It is highly recommended to smile, 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 and smile a bit more. Because from that, the judges will then want to look at the overall physique. And the number of times we've had winners where the judges will just go, "Oh, if only they would smile." Oh, and it does the judges' heads in. And one year, a girl looked so miserable on stage, the judges called me over and said, "Look, it's presentation. Her presentation, she's just looking like an absolute cow. Like she doesn't want to be up there." I looked over and really, you had one of those Seinfeld Kramer moments. And they were right. And they said one or two places. I think from memory I said one. She got docked a presentation point. So people smile, or just have the fear of God in them, or something. Just something. Give the judges something. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. The resting bitch face is not welcomed. It's
No.
it doesn't look as good as I think it does either. Like, not smiling doesn't make you look sexier or more appealing. If anything, it makes you look cranky and miserable, as you said.
Yeah. And that girl that actually contacted me a year later and asked for feedback, and I said, "Can I be honest?" She said, "Please." I said, "You look like a bitch on stage." I said, "You look like you didn't want to be there." She said, "You know what? You're right." I look at those photos and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, look at me." And then a few years back, because I always say, when you want some feedback, always send in your own self-feedback as well, just to see where your thinking is at. And one girl sends in and goes, "Oh my goodness, look at me. I had my resting bitch face on. Oh my goodness, it was horrible." Yeah. So smiling is absolutely the number one thing you've got to remember.
I've got the opposite problem when I'm on stage. I think I smile too much, and there are some photos of me, and I'm like, I'm just so excited to be up there. I think, oh my God, settle down, Mariah, because half the photos it looks like I'm trying to catch flies in my mouth, and I got my head like, oh yep, and you can end up getting so excited that your neck tightens up, and so you do have to just relax a little bit. But if you're happy to be there, smile, but be careful with the whole clown face, because that's me on stage. I'm a clown the whole time I'm there. It's just lit up.
And smile outwards. Don't smile upwards through the nose. Don't have a snout nose. Don't be pulling up through that. So there's a difference there. Yeah, that's the one right there. Right, is really important, because so many girls got so beautiful smiles and you're not using them.
Yeah.
The smiles the gateway. And like eyes, make eye contact with the judges. It's not a hostage situation. Make eye contact. So often I'll see competitors just looking out into the crowd, looking out into space. I'm like, no, you got to sell. You'll be looking over here. Get eye contact with those judges. Make them look at you. Make them look at you. Yeah, always looking at the judges.
That's one of our questions, actually. One of our other questions is, yeah, how important do you think eye contact is with the judges? It is hard because obviously bright lights, like it's hard to figure out where they are. But my tip is
Mm.
just to kind of tilt the head slightly towards them so that, and then like, make eye contact, look at directly at them instead of up into the crowd, because then imagine their view is of your chin type of thing. So it's just a small head tilt, isn't it?
So with the head position too, be wary that you're not dropping down too
No,
far,
not too much.
because
Yeah.
again, that changes your symmetry. You
Yeah.
can look up too long, too high, and you've got this long, long neck. And again, this is stuff we discuss in posing classes, especially with the rear pose. Don't have the rear pose with your head down, head up. Just have it level, because again, we can see the difference when you drop it or lift it up, and it looks wrong. But in regards to eye contact, I want to go back to grade 6. Okay, I remember being in grade 6, going for the school soccer team, right? And I'd done a run pass, and I knew I was on the fringe of getting into the team, right? And anyway, I did a really bad run pass through, and I was so dirty at myself, and I just went, you know what I got to do is I've got to look at that coach, eyeball him, and let him understand I'd had a really bad run through and I wanted to go again. And I just looked at him, I was like, oh, and he goes, you want to have another go? And I was like, yes, and got in the team.
Wow.
So like use the power of those eyes. Say, hey, I want to have a go here. I'm not finished. Pick me, pick me, pick me, and it works. Like I said, it's not a hostage situation. People make eye contact, yeah, and smile.
Love that. I like it. Yeah. The one improvement I think I could make from my last show was head positioning, and yeah, and not letting it kind of, the lights blind me, and looking a little bit more at my judges and at the judges. I say my judges because it is. It's kind of like they're judging you. So in essence, you've got to think about the connection that you have with them in that moment, and that, yeah, like your friends and your family are there, but as you said, the power of eye contact is, and emotion through that is huge. So I really like it. So I guess the next point, we'll skip on to the next few questions.